Hi, George. How are you?
Doing great in you. Thanks for
I
having me
am
on, Dr. Shelley.
perfect. Thank you. Great to have you here. So the purpose of this little chat is to share with our writers a little bit about your writing background and what led you to where you are at today, right? Our first question is, who or what motivated you to start writing?
Definitely God. It's definitely Jesus, Yeshua, my
Okay.
Lord and Savior. I
Mm-hmm.
started writing. Didn't even realize I was really writing anything. I had a prayer journal, and it was
Mm,
just my day-to-day conversations with God and my requests. And I talked to him about everything, about my work, about my job, and my family, my friends, and I pray about different things. And there's a lady that I used to work with. She gave me a like a journal, so I used
mm,
that to pray, and I wrote it
mm.
down. That's what I did. I started back in might have been 2005, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. Long time ago.
Oh yes.
Almost 20 years ago.
Oh yes.
Right. Almost 20 years ago. Though you don't look it, right?
Bro, I got a little gray coming in.
So my next question is, can you share what is your writing process and any unique rituals or routines that you follow when you're working on a new project?
Well, I don't have any new projects. The project that I've always worked on has been the Chronicles of Van and Low. It's a sci-fi adventure story that I have.
Wow.
I have this book from it, and I have different comic books as well, and I also have a workbook that's all based on that as well. Um, the process for me, like I said earlier, I was writing in my prayer journal, and I didn't realize that I could write um, until I had actually met a person named Mr. Allen Bellman, who became my mentor at later on in life. But he said, George, every time we meet, you're always showing me your portfolio. Stop playing around, go get your book done. And at the time, I wasn't thinking about writing. I didn't think I was a writer. And then I thought to myself, oh, I do write because I write to the Lord. So that's how it kind of started. And I actually wrote a film script first, which was a spec script. And then I went into writing into a novel because of, he said, hey, stop playing around, get your book done. So
Mm,
from the script, it went to the novel. And then from the novel, it went to a comic book. But as far as process, I'd say in the times that I had when I was working full time on at the job on my break, I'd write a little bit. I believe God gave me
mhm,
ideas. I also write and sketch, like
mhm.
ideas and scenes and write, and
Yes.
that's how it was for me.
That's interesting, writing and then sketching. And what I hear as a common theme among authors, and even myself as an author, is that we write whenever we get the opportunity. So we don't wait for a specific time. It's just whenever the opportunity, and we make it important. And once you got that epiphany from the gentleman that you mentioned, you
Oh yes.
started writing, and that actually worked for you. So thanks for sharing that. So on the contrary, now, what challenges did you have to face when you were writing? If you want to share a specific book or books that you have, just share with us what challenges and how did you overcome them?
I'm still working to overcome just schedule and time and interruptions because every single day, as a freelancer, as a designer and an owner of my own company, and do all these different things, and also help the family. Every single
Yeah.
day, every single moment, I have to fight for my time. And when you're not working in the corporate world for a company, people realize, oh, I can call George and I can get this and I can do this or I need this. I'm like, look,
Yes,
I need to get work done. So it's
right,
a daily
right,
battle. I have a schedule, but it's hard to keep it on a daily basis. So
right.
as I finish my projects or whatever it is I'm working on, I scratch it off. My dad says, he says, how do you eat an elephant? And he
Right.
says, one bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
So I always think that in mind when he reminds me when I get a little frustrated about things not finishing
Right, right,
the way that I want it
right.
to. you know, the time that I have, I do my best at the time that I have, and then that's it.
Yes,
You know, I have to
yes,
move
yes.
on. So
Yeah. So what I like about you are a little different from most of the other authors that we have in the writers group. What you are more into the comics. What started that?
well, since I was a kid, I love cartoons, and I remember mom and wanted me to play piano, and I was doing piano lessons, and I was always looking over my shoulder watching the cartoons. And
Mm,
I love movies, and then I met a lady named Miss Christine Carrick. She's really good friends with my brother. This was years and years later when I was working in the corporate, and she says, George, you need to come to ComiCon. I
mm.
was like, what's ComiCon? She's like, well, you need to come because I know you like art, I know you do character.
Yes, yes,
You need to
yes,
come and see what I'm doing because I'm going to be releasing my graphic novel there.
yeah,
So I took a week off of my work, and I went there to California, to San Diego, to find
yeah.
out about ComiCon.
Uh,
And it blew my mind.
mm,
It was not only comics, it was filmmakers, it was writers, and I got
yeah.
a chance to meet my childhood creators, which was a gentleman named Don Levine. He created G.I. Joe, which is
Uh-huh.
were toys that I used to play with. And here I am talking to this gentleman, and I had my portfolio with me, showing him you know, my ideas and things.
Mm-hmm.
And God was opening the door to show me a little bit of a little glimpse of what my future was, and
Yeah.
that's what started me in the comics. But I love films, and when I meet people at these different events, comic book conventions, film festivals, and
Right,
different
right,
places,
right.
I get inspired. There's a lady that even Dr. Hoax got a chance to meet, and I actually when I was inspired by Dr. Hoax as well. But there's a lady named Miss Glenda Finkelstein, and she writes science fiction. I love science fiction, and
Yes.
she always encouraged me. I had bought her a book, and this is years ago, and I always wanted her to make a film from it called Nemesis Rising, and
Mm-hmm.
it was amazing. It reminded me of like Star Trek, and also
Yeah.
it had God in it too as well. As far as the Nephilim, different characters, it was amazing how she wrote, and I could visualize when she reading her the pages. I could visualize. I could see it as a film. So,
Right.
uh,
Nice.
so it's not so much
Excellent.
that I like comics, but I like to see my story as a film.
Nice. So it comes to life.
Hmm.
So this is a perfect space for us to look at the ever-evolving landscape of publishing. What advice would you give to aspiring authors on building their author brand and connecting with readers?
I'm sorry. Can you rephrase or repeat?
Saying in this ever-evolving landscape that we have of
Mhm.
publishing, what advice would you give to aspiring authors who are working on building their author brand and connecting with readers?
Oh, okay, definitely. I think everyone's unique, and everyone has a God-given gift and God-given ability. Use what you've been given, and
Yes.
you pray. Um, and I always go to Habakkuk 2:2 to 3, and it talks about writing the vision and making it plain.
Yeah,
And
yes,
it
I
also
like
talks
that one
about
too.
the season. So Habakkuk 2:2 through 3.
Yeah.
You pray, you ask God what to do, you write down what he tells you. Write down sometimes it's like, okay, is that God or is that me? So you write it down and you pray, you keep praying,
Yeah.
and you seek
Yeah.
counsel, you pray, and you keep praying, and then
Right.
you do your best, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that also people that believe in what you're doing,
Yes.
ask them to help you. You know, have some
Right.
help, ask them to come alongside with you.
Right. Right. Right.
Everybody
Right.
has a gift and a talent. It could be
Right.
writing, it could be singing, it could be whatever it is. But if we
Yeah.
all work together, it's like the body of Christ. We work together, and
Mm-hmm.
we share the gospel. You know, that's
Mm-hmm.
for me. That's what it's all about. I
Mm-hmm.
might not preach the gospel wherever I'm at, but I what I'm asked as far as how did you get to where you're at? And I give God glory because He's the one that gives me all the opportunities and give me all the
Right. Right.
abilities, so I get a chance to share the gospel and share
So
what
you
He's
want to
given.
you want to share a little bit about your corporate background where you evolved from? Because I know you do a little bit of fashion. So we're talking about branding, and I know you replicate you're not only doing the comic books, but you're also doing clothing and stuff like that, right?
Well, my background is my first job in the corporate world was periodist. I was sketching technical illustrations of men's garments, men's accessories, and then I was praying as I learned all how to sketch better when I was in the industry, and then I was asking
Yeah,
God, it would be so cool if I could not only sketch the clothing and the accessories and these different things, but I could also tell a manufacturer how to sew them and
right.
tell someone how to design what I'm actually sketching. So I think
Yeah.
it was probably like 3 minutes after having thought that, or me even praying. It was prayer was in my head, and
Yeah.
I got a phone call from someone that used to work with me and knew what I could do, and he called me to come over to another company. He says, "Hey, look, we need someone to sketch and do what you do, but then we'll also need to train you how to measure clothing, how to sew the clothing, and how to do all
Right.
these different details." And that's exactly what I was thinking to my head and talking to God about. I was like, "Man, it'd be so cool to learn this," but God gave me the other opportunity. I
Provided
didn't
that
even look for it.
way.
I didn't even look for it.
Opened
I
it.
just got it, and
Right.
and that's how I got to the next company. And I learned how to do the sewing construction, learn how to measure, learn how to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
describe the garments and different things. So my background is in fashion from that, and from that next job, it kind of springboarded me into the future. And all those different skills that I learned from that company, I was able
Mm-hmm.
to use at different companies, and I ended up being an apparel designer and a senior technical
So
designer.
you see, there's no way you could have left that out, because this is what your evolution from corporate right into your own entrepreneurship business as
Mhm.
a result of it's an ever evolving thing as a result of your comics. So you make um clothing. I'm trying to make say the right things,
Mhm.
because I've seen you um at you have done ComiCon and stuff, and I've seen you with stuff. So I think I've even seen you with what is that what is it costume that you made or designed?
Oh,
Mascot? Is a mascot?
that's my mascot. His name is Mo.
Uh-huh.
Um, and when I had my book released,
Yeah.
actually before that, my parents were like, "Oh, we need something to draw people to our exhibit table."
Hey.
So
Hey.
so my dad was like, "Well, why don't we make my Mo my one of my characters?" And he's kind of like our mascot. So
Hey.
um, with a little bit of sewing knowledge that I had, and also a fashion mentor, she gave me advice, and she says, "Hey," she helped me create a shoe for my character, and she's
Yeah.
like, "I'm going out of town, so you have to do the rest," and that was it. So
So
myself,
that
my,
I'm getting that you are somebody who listens to the leading of the, as you said, the Lord. You listen to the leading of the Lord, and you ask what you ask, question you're not afraid to ask of people who are more experienced than yourself, and your prayer life that you have mentioned. So those things seem to be what I've seen from you writing and promoting your books, because you're using the mascot as the promoter. Am I correct?
well, that was for that event and a couple other events, but um, that was for that event.
Okay. Okay. So you still use the mascot, or just was that just for a particular event?
Well, we used them a couple of times. My dad
Okay.
is actually the
Okay.
one that's in the costume, and it's not cool in there.
Don't
So
tell don't tell the secret.
so I'm very thankful.
Yeah, yeah,
Blessed that my mom and my dad, they support and they
yeah,
encourage, and they believe in what I'm doing, because I know
yeah.
that a lot of people don't have that.
Right. They don't have that support. So as we wrap up here, where can people find you if they want to get comic books or any of your products that you have?
Oh, okay. Well, I have my illustrated novel. I have my comic book. I have my workbook that talks about fashion comics, and all that can be found on www dot gmossdesign.com. That's GMOSSDESIGN.com, and you can also find me on LinkedIn under G Moss Designs.
Right. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, George,
Um,
before we sign off?
I just think that everybody has a gift that God's given them, and I want to what's the scripture verse? It was Proverbs 18:16. It talks about how a person has a gift, and your gift makes room for you and brings you before great men. And
Mm,
whenever God gives you, whatever God gives you, He's given you. You just have to find out what that is. And like we were talking about earlier, writing it down. Habakkuk 2:2-3.
right.
Write it, pray, you ask God, you write it down. And then my dad always tells me work the plan.
I, you know that I like to do my motivational quotes because what I found in a lot of persons is that they have the desire, but they're not motivated to do it. So that you just said that your dad mentioned, write the plan, work the plan. Work the plan, because if you don't work the plan, it's just gonna remain
Nothing's
there.
gonna happen.
Nothing's gonna happen. Gotta
Mhm.
work it. I think
Mhm.
that's a perfect segue to end. My name is Dr. Shelly Cameron, and love talking to persons like yourself, George. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Dr.
Thank
Shelly.
you.
Take
You're
care.
welcome.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.